And now at 11, continuing to follow breaking news out of the war in Ukraine. Tonight, how Ukrainians in Charlotte are reacting to Russia's attack as they call for peace. Plus, all of this impacts gas prices. We're on your side with exactly how and why. Good evening and thanks for joining us here tonight at 11 o'clock. I'm Molly Grantham. Air raid sirens and explosions were heard across Ukraine today. Russia's invasion is well underway. It is the biggest attack on a European country in nearly 80 years. Ukraine's government pleaded for help as civilians fled the country. Team coverage tonight as this situation continues to unfold. Our Brandon Hamilton was in Uptown as demonstrators marched, calling for this war to end. And our Alex Giles is live with details on how all of this will impact gas prices. And Alex, of course, why. But first, we want to walk you through what has happened since Russia first attacked. It's been a little over 24 hours since Russian President Vladimir Putin announced the invasion. It happened right before the 11 o'clock news last night. In the first day of the attack, Ukraine's president says 137 people have been killed and over 300 wounded. U.S. defense officials say Russia launched at least 160 missiles for airstrikes. Russia took control of Chernobyl, the site of the world's worst nuclear disaster. President Biden also announced new sanctions against Russia. The White House said it is ready to accept Ukrainian refugees.
This is a dangerous moment for all of Europe, for the freedom around the world. Putin has committed an assault on the very principles that uphold the global peace.
The Pentagon has also ordered 7,000 more troops to Europe. Thousands of troops from Fort Bragg in North Carolina are already there. Martial law has also been declared in Ukraine, and there is an overnight curfew. Now, hundreds of people gathered in Romare Bearden Park in Uptown to stand in solidarity with Ukraine. Many demonstrators here say they still have family there, and they are scared of what war may bring. Our Brandon Hamilton is here live after walking with these war protesters earlier. And Brandon, you got a chance to talk with many of the people with connections overseas.
What started out as teenage dispute games has turned into a deadly game.
Tonight, a 3-year-old is dead and his 4-year-old sister hurt after bullets fly in Northwest Charlotte. Nearly 150 rounds into a home while they were asleep.
This should outrage everyone who hears this.
Local leaders are emphatically calling for the community to step in and help end the violence. And tonight, new at 11, people are disgusted and broken over the death of this 3-year-old innocent child.
If we can't figure this out for a 3-year-old, for whom will we do this for?
Tonight, how people in Charlotte are coming out quickly to remember Isaiah Figueroa and the search for the high school students police say shot him. In a time where it takes a lot in a headline to raise eyebrows and elicit emotion, this story is doing it. Disgust, heartbreak, and utter sadness. Good evening and welcome. I'm Molly Grantham. This shooting is rocking our community. A 3-year-old, think about that, a 3-year-old sleeping in his bed, shot and killed. We're going to have the latest details on what police are saying tonight about the teenage shooters. Now at 11, a major move tonight in the fight against sticker shock. The Federal Reserve said it is raising interest rates by half a point. So what's the idea behind that move? That if you raise the cost of a mortgage, credit cards and auto loans will result in less spending and ultimately will slow inflation. You guys know the housing market is wild right now. This move by the Federal Reserve could have an impact on anyone looking to buy or sell a home. Tonight, our Alex Giles spoke with a realtor and a family trying to buy a house. He's live right now. So Alex, let's break this down in real word ways. What does raising the interest rate mean for home buyers? Breaking news across the country today. It is now up to 19 children killed at an elementary school in Texas. 2 adults were also killed, one being a teacher. The gunman is also dead.
As a nation, we have to ask, when in God's name are we going to stand up to the gun lobby? When in God's name we do what we all know in our gut needs to be done?
We are hearing reaction tonight from across the nation and here in Charlotte. Good evening and welcome to your news at 11 o'clock. I'm Molly Grantham. Some days it's really hard. The news isn't easy for anyone. And as parents across the nation face end-of-year ceremonies, tonight there are 19 children who won't be tucked into their beds by their families because 2 days before their last day at school, a gunman walked in and opened fire at their elementary school. Tonight, investigators say 18-year-old Salvador Ramos walked into Robb Elementary in Uvalde, Texas, and started shooting. At least one teacher was killed, as was the gunman. And tonight, Texas Governor Greg Abbott says the gunman shot his grandmother before he ever even entered the school. We have team coverage for you tonight. Our Nikki Hauser talked with parents and a student in Charlotte, and our Courtney Cole is live with how local school officials are responding. But first, the latest from the investigation itself, happening 1,300 miles away from Charlotte in a small town at a small school that has fewer than 600 students. As CBS's Aaron Jones reports tonight, a motive for the shooting is still unclear. Today, law enforcement agencies across Mecklenburg County stepped up patrols at local elementary schools. You may have noticed officers from CMPD, from Huntersville, from Pineville, Cornelius, Mint Hill, and Matthews police departments at schools. Sky 3 flew over Matthews, Hidden Valley, and Idlewild elementary schools today. What happened in Texas, though, it's not something that just happened over there. It's not a story to report. Headlines like this impact us all. We, parents and families everywhere, are navigating the reality of 19 children and 2 teachers killed, and how inside our own homes we are talking about that with our own kids, if we as parents choose to talk about it at all. Many of you might know that I have 3 children ages 11, 7, and 1. Last night I shared on social media that I had talked about what happened in Texas with my oldest 2 while on dinner break. I wanted them to hear it from me first. So as I stated last night, and what you guys seemed to really react to, was how my 11-year-old daughter, Parker, was enraged with the gunman. She was matter-of-fact in her anger. She couldn't understand why would someone want to hurt other people. Having these conversations can be hard. Answering kids' questions can be even harder. I mean, who would want to hurt kids? What do you tell them? Our education reporter, Courtney Cole, is talking today with parents on how moms and dads in our community are finding ways to talk with their children.
And that's why. So that's my why.
That's a good why. That's a good why. Have you ever tried to find out who the donor was?
No.
But you never forgot him?
I don't need to find out who they are. I just got to make sure that I mimic what they're doing.
Absolutely incredible. How lucky are we that he decided to stay here, you know, right, in Charlotte, to put down roots and to make this huge difference. And like we mentioned before, they're expected to be slammed because there's so much need. And these types of facilities are already in the state. Raleigh's got a couple, right?
Yeah, Raleigh has one, Durham has one. I mean, there's a bunch over the state. Charlotte, Mecklenburg does not have one. Steve is going to bring it here along with other partnerships. Again, not just about Steve.
Yeah.
But you'll have 23 hours that you can be in there, and then you'll get paperwork and go. There's no beds, 16 chairs. They don't want people to spend the night. It is somewhere to get you on your feet and go. And as far as his why, I thought it was so great that he didn't want to go find the anonymous donor. It wasn't about finding the words to thank him. It was about finding the actions to mimic him.
Yeah, he has lived by it all of these years. It's an incredible story. Thanks for telling it, Molly. Thanks for stopping by.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us here tonight at 11 o'clock. Lots going on. And we do begin with this story many of you were following online all night. An Amber Alert was issued for a missing 3-year-old in North Carolina, and breaking news, it has just been canceled. Investigators say Riley Harper Box was abducted in Sanford. That's a little over 2 hours away from Charlotte. The CBS affiliate in Raleigh just 10 minutes ago says she was found safe in Tennessee. The Lee County Sheriff's Office says her mother, Deanna Michelle Box, was found dead inside the home she was taken from, and investigators say her father, Brent James Box, was taken into custody. He is charged with murder in the death of the girl's mother, who is also his wife. Police have not said what her cause of death was, but again, this little 3-year-old girl safe tonight in Tennessee. New now at 11 o'clock, some stories hit hard, and you think there can't be much of a silver lining, and then humanity comes through and proves you wrong. That is the case tonight with the terrible circumstances around the death of North Carolina State Trooper John Horton. His brother, a fellow trooper, lost control of his car, hit his brother, and killed him yesterday. But tonight we are hearing about a teenager in Florida so affected by this accident, he is now trying to help the family. Our Brandon Hamilton is live here after talking with that team tonight. Can't wait to hear this, Brandon. At 11 o'clock, many of you know former NFL player D'Angelo Williams, who lives here locally, lost his mother to breast cancer. I also lost mine. We both actively try to help women who battle in our community, and our kids see that. So tonight's something D'Angelo and I have never done before. We're letting our daughters talk for us. My girl, Parker, is playing the role of me, interviewing Raya Williams, who is playing the role of her dad. D'Angelo and I intentionally were not in the room for their conversation. We wanted it to stay real. 2 10-year-olds who lost their grandmothers talking about breast cancer as they see it. Here we go. All new at 11.